Hey everyone, it's Jamie from Independent Street Tarot and Seasons and Ritual, and I just wanted to drop in today. It is April 26th. I just kind of want to drop in to see how everyone's doing. This has been a really big week with a lot of energies. On the 23rd, we had our full moon in Scorpio, and so usually we sit with those full moon energies for about 3 days. So the 23rd, 24th, 25th. On the 24th, we then also had Mercury stationing direct in Aries, and where Mercury stationed direct was right at that 16-degree mark where Chiron is located in Aries. And then also this week we had Sedna, who is a dwarf planet, move into Gemini. And that is a lot of energy because she has been she's moved into Gemini and she's going to be there until 2067. So she doesn't move very fast and she doesn't move into changing signs very often. So the fact that she has gone in there, that's a lot of energy that we're experiencing. So I just wanted to jump in and see how everyone's doing. Um, Mercury turning direct uh, at the same degree as Chiron in Aries. This is about how we communicate with ourselves. And if it brought up some sort of wound, it's important for us to recognize that. A lot of times, well, I don't know if I'll say a lot of times, but I can feel what I've been observing, I guess I will say, with this full moon in Scorpio, which is fixed water. Um, and then Mercury turning direct on at Chiron. Um, I feel like the moon, full moon was pretty good. And a couple of days after it was when some energies started shifting differently. Still very positive, even though a lot of us might have felt aggravated or irritated. A lot of times what I find is it's bringing up a wound where we don't feel seen or heard. And I feel that's very interesting for a couple of reasons because going to Sedna, the dwarf planet who just moved into Gemini. In her mythology, she created the sea mammals, seals, and she was an Inuit goddess. And in the mythology, and you guys can look her up, it's spelled Sedna. You guys can look her up on Wikipedia. But in her mythology, it is usually involving her in a canoe with her father throwing her overboard, her clinging to the canoe, and then him cutting off her fingers then falling into the ocean, creating the different sea life. Um, and that the hunters now have to call on her to help them with the hunt. And then usually her sinking to the bottom, where she is the goddess of the underworld, but of the ocean. And so I think it's very interesting with the full moon, Scorpio, fixed waters, feelings, emotions. Sedna being not heard or seen, or if she was heard or seen, she was made sure to get out because she was causing a problem, if you will. Or their father wanted to try and help her but couldn't help her, or was trying to sacrifice her, and she was, I don't know, not cooperating, I guess, if you will, but it is about being seen and heard. And either in a good light or a bad light, he was trying to get her out of the boat and somewhere else for his gain. Um, and so I feel like this is a theme along with this Mercury going direct about how we feel like if how we think we're seen and heard, right? And how we feel about it, right? That would be the feelings would be this full moon in Scorpio. Um, that I am who I am, right? Is that sun in Taurus right now. And so Mercury has turned direct. This is the third time Mercury is crossing back over Chiron, and it's still in a conjunction with Chiron. And so it's important to see these feelings that are coming up and to see what stories that we're still holding on to, especially if it comes to family wounding, or issues with other people that we were close to. What is the story that we're telling about ourselves, right? What is the story that is keeping us intertangled or interlocked with the other, right? With the other person, because Taurus where the sun is now, fixed Earth is very simple, right? Simplicity. Scorpio, on the other hand, as we're trying to bring it up, was known as like manipulating emotions, right? That's low Scorpio. So I'm sorry, Scorpios, you're not like that all the time. We're building that back up, right? Um, and so if we're in this turmoil, we're being asked again to bring things back into simplicity, right? If we're still like the emotions are still being turmoiled, what am I trying to say? If there's still that turmoil in your emotions when it comes to certain people or certain stories or certain old lives, old ways of being, where we go to that Chiron that's in Aries, which is that I am presence, and it is who are you now? Who are you being? You know, we get back into simplicity when we realize who we are, when we realize what our story is, and we really have to just give the other, like give them who they are. That is who they are, and that is that. You know, this idea that we going back and forth, well, I thought this and they said this and all this stuff. But if you really just see someone for who they are, allow them to be that, you know, allow them to be exactly who they are. And then make sure you look at yourself and so you can see exactly who you are, especially in this present time, in this present way of being. Sedna, underwater, right? All those deep emotions. On one hand, she is a creation story. On the other hand, she is a story of betrayal because her dad chopped off her fingers from the boat. So lots of emotions, like lots of turmoil going into Gemini. Gemini is the twins. Gemini can rule duality. I see it now ruling unity conscious more than duality. But Gemini is ruled by Mercury, right? Where's Mercury? Mercury's conjunct with Chiron right now. In the I am, right? In Aries, so that is good. So if you're feeling, you know, under the emotions, underwater, a little bit of turmoil, again, how do we come with that? What is the story that we're telling us? Where is that, you know, it's a fucking bummer. My dad cut off my goddamn fingers. You know what I mean? Like that's what happened. But where is Sedna now? You know, she rules the ocean. She is a creation story. Is it the best way to become a creation story? Probably not. But again, it is working with trauma. It is working with what happened in the past, right? It is working with where we are now. And if we can accept where we are now, where we want to move forward, you know, it's not saying that these stories that we went through or these people that we had in our lives, especially people that we loved, right? And trusted, um, and things didn't work out so well and we came out on the other side, then there's still that wounding there. But it's important to realize when these things come up, are you allowing yourself to be seen and heard where you are now? Because that person may never see and hear you where you are now. And that is okay because that's not why you're put on this earth. You're put on this earth to be the best person you're supposed to be, not trying to keep convincing someone who is most likely, you know, they're put here for another reason. They're put here to have their own story, live their own lives. Um, you're not here to convince them anything about you. You know who you are. You know, I always say, I mean, you know who you are, you know where you're going, you know what you're leaving behind, right? And it's really important, especially um, when you're living your truth, right? That I am presence. And other people may not feel like they're living their truth, right? So they take it out on you, or maybe they took it out on you 20 years ago, but it still comes up, you know, or you guys know what I'm saying. The thing is to bring it back to simplicity, bring it back to you, bring it back to your love of you, right? And your heart. And again, I was just thinking about this last night and this morning, and this didn't even come up really until this full moon in Scorpio when I was thinking about Taurus being simple and Scorpio being emotional, right? And how that could be confusing. And then I was thinking about where the lunar nodes are. In the south node, what we're leaving behind is in Libra, and the north node is in Aries, right? And so a lot of this, when I would talk about what we're leaving behind in Libra, would be people pleasing, right? But Libra, it dawned on me this time, but Libra is the scales. Libra wants balance, right? So what we're also leaving behind is feeling out of balance, right? Where the scales are tipped, not in our favor, we're leaving that behind. And so the north node is in Aries, and that's what we're working towards. And what is that? That's showing up as our authentic self. Very easy, very, who we are, who we love. That is that I am presence. And so with this full moon coming out of that energy, Sun and Taurus, simplicity, fixed earth, full moon in Scorpio, where things could be emotional, not sure. How do we get that back into balance? They're opposite of each other. Those opposites create that perfect tension so we can become in balance. Go back to who you are. Understand they're going to be that person. You don't have to figure them out. And if they still don't see you where you are now, that's on them. That's on them. Gemini, ruled by Mercury, talking about it, right? Talking about to ourselves. You can keep going back and forth, right? With the twins, but you can always ask the twins, what's another option? What's another way to speak about this? What's the third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh option, right? It's important when we're working with Gemini to make sure we don't get trapped in duality. It's either they're wrong and I'm right, or whatever, but there can be more things. You can be right, they can be right, they can be wrong, you can be wrong. It doesn't matter, right? But what we want is to bring things back into balance. What we want is Sedna to be happy with where she is now, right? Be happy with communicating differently about her present, even though how she got there was because of her past. How does this unity consciousness get us out of the collective consciousness, right? Water, emotion. Scorpio, right? Ruled by Pluto now, again, the underworld, again, feelings. Scorpio's ancient ruler, Mars, now rules Aries, right? And then again, it dawned on me, Libra is ruled by Venus, the divine feminine, south node. Aries, ruled by Mars, the masculine, now the divine masculine. What is Libra bringing into balance? Right? What are we leaving behind that's out of balance? The masculine and feminine that have been out of balance. Libra wants to bring them back into balance. South node, north node, right? That I am presence, right? That feminine, the divine feminine with us showing up. I am, right? The divine masculine showing up, listening. Okay, this is how we're going to move. This is how I'm seeing, Sedna moving into Gemini for the next 40 something years. I'm great with math. 2067. You know, Mercury ruling that Gemini, Mercury turning on that Chiron point, right? Chiron, the great healer in Aries, right? If we don't feel like divine masculines have been listening or seeing us, or they saw us and heard us just to take us in a boat, throw us over the side, right? It goes either way. That's a big fucking wound. Okay. How do we heal that? Right? How do we heal that? How do we heal that toxic masculine who pushed us over the boat and welcome in this divine masculine that is now here having to rise to meet this divine feminine? I think it's really interesting today too. In the United States, they overturned the Harvey Weinstein case, right? Who was this prolific predator on women. And they're going to have to retry the case, right? Right when Sedna moves into Gemini. And now we got to talk about it again, right? Now we've got to bring these women back. That toxic masculinity coming back and being like, hey, no, look at me, right? And those women that stood up for themselves, I can't imagine what it's like to be in a courtroom and to say, when you're violated, any man or woman, right? And now they have to come back and do it again, right? Now they have to show back up again, getting over that past, getting over that toxic masculinity to bring in this divine masculine. And that's where Mercury is. Mercury is in Aries, even though he's hitting on that Chiron mark, right? That's our wound. But we're healing that. We're healing that. Sedna moving into Gemini, ruled by Mercury, the depths of the ocean. We're healing that. Where are we now? That Scorpio full moon, right? Going into the underground, right? It was in that T square, that fixed T square with Pluto, who's an Aquarius, bringing in these new ways of thinking about ourselves, bringing in these new ways of talking, right? Aquarius is also communication. Gemini, also an air sign, also communication. So things are shifting really big right now. And a lot of times these old things come up right before we jump off on the other side of the edge. So keep working with this energy. Uranus, Aquarius's modern day ruler, and Jupiter, right, were conjunct also on Saturday. All this energy. I'm pretty sure they're still in conjunction. It's Jupiter's moved on, but it's still in that conjunction. This is a lot of energy, you guys, making that whole, making this new space in Taurus, right? Taurus ruled by Venus. Venus rules Libra, right? It is this time to start bringing in this love, this self-love, love of self, right? Love of the divine feminine, love of the divine masculine. And we are that divine feminine and divine masculine. We are. We don't have to keep trying to find it in others. It's always nice when it does show up. But it is this idea of healing that wound, healing that victim consciousness, that victim energy, which is real, that is real, right? That's not, things happen to people. People are victimized. But how do we move this forward so we can heal them and we can heal ourselves? And understand if that person victimized you, that's that. Don't make it complicated. Don't make it complicated. Go back to what is real. Go back to what is solid, right? Go back to that Taurus energy, Hathor, creation, love, fixed earth, turning over the soil, turning over these new beginnings. So no, the good news is Mercury is now direct in Aries. So that is going to help bring in this new conversation of who we are now, the warriors that we are now, that spiritual warriors. Going forward, Taurus, the sun's in Taurus, how we get to stand up, how we get to show up, how we get to speak differently. Taurus rules the throat, right? This new story that we're saying. We've hit Chiron 3 times, for God's sakes. We had that eclipse. We had our full moon. We've had, what do you call it? Sedna move into Gemini, and then Jupiter will move into Gemini, which I was going to speak on at the same time, but it doesn't go into Gemini till the end of May. So we'll wait. We'll wait. So let's pull a couple cards. Let's just get some fresh energy in here. I'm using the Mermaid Tarot because of this, by Dame Darcy. If you guys like this tarot deck, she did it. Dame, D-A-M-E, Dame Darcy. She did the Witchy Cat the other day. But I hope I'm doing a good job as explaining South Node Libra, Libra ruled by Venus. Libra is balance. The lunar South Node, Libra, Libra is ruled by Venus. Venus is balance. The sun right now is in Taurus. Taurus is ruled by Venus, right? The moon was in Scorpio. Scorpio fixed water. Sedna, the Inuit goddess, rules the underworld, moved into Gemini. Gemini is Mercury. Mercury just turned direct in Aries. Aries is where the North Node is. The North Node is that I am presence, right? To me, they're all working together to get us moving forward, to get us out of victim energy, to let you know you are seen and you are heard. And we're so happy where you are in this present moment, you know? In again, not every day is 100%, but I know, okay, but I know that this week energetically has been a lot. And sometimes we forget about that, especially when astrologers put their videos up 2 weeks in advance. A lot of times we're like, why the hell why do I feel like this? Like we just had the full moon. Yeah, we just had a full moon. We just had a planet turn direct, and we just had another dwarf planet move into a new sign, Um, what happened on Saturday that I'm forgetting about? Okay, here it is. So Ace of Cups, right? The Ace of Cups is this new beginning of love, right? This new beginning of creativity, this new beginning of remembering that we're always connected to source. The Ace of Cups never runs out of water. And so on those days that we felt like we're upset, that is us not being connected to source. That is us being connected to hurt. That is us being connected to pain. A lot of times it's us being connected to old memories. And so it's important, and those feelings are real and valid. And sometimes we just have to sit in those feelings. Like I tell people, sometimes your day is just going to be a shitter of a day or a fucking bummer, and then you get to try again tomorrow. But it is always important to remember that we're always connected to source when we take those minutes, right? We take those deep breaths, we get recentered, and we ask ourselves to get regrounded and reconnected to source. Ace of Cups. What is, it is also creativity. It is love. It is love for self. Um, we're in this age of Aquarius where it is ourselves first and then the other. So it is love for self, and then it is love for the other, humanity. And then on the bottom, we have this Knight of Cups, which I think is so beautiful because the way that I read knights, I mean, we got 2 cups. How beautiful is that, right? Scorpio, water, Sedna, water. Um, I would even say, I was going to say Libra, bringing us back into balance. But it's not water. Libra's air. But our feelings and emotions, right? Knight of Cups. The way that I read all knights is that they're loyal to the cause. And so the Knight of Cups, he is romantic. He is loyal to this. He's not going to leave us hanging, right? The Knight of Cups is that divine masculine, also very creative. Inspiration. This has also been a big theme coming up. We've got to get re-inspired again. And a lot of times when we go through tough stuff, it just sucks the life out of us. The things that we used to love, we don't love anymore. Things that used to inspire us, we're like, well, so it's important to get inspired again, find new things that inspire us. Um, I would say like, go look at some pictures from the James Webb Telescope. There's so much more that's coming in, that we don't even know yet. But this night, he's going to stay with us. He's loyal. He's going to make sure that we do find love again with ourselves. We do find ways to be creative. We do find things that we love in other people. So this is good. This is a good confirmations coming in, especially with this really tough week. I don't know if you guys saw this, but apparently in London, 5 horses of the color guard took off. Big Ben stopped at 9. The clock just stopped at 9, which is the number 9 is the ending. And then when it did decide to come back online, it chimed 11 times, you know, and you got to see that number 11 as the portal, right? That 1-1. So energy is wild right now. We're still not that far out of the eclipse. So be kind with yourselves, get a lot of rest. Also know when you guys are having these epiphanies, when you guys are having these talks, um, you are seen, you are heard, especially by spirit, but also you're not going to go backwards just because something comes up in the past that might piss you off. I always say that's just us reconnecting with that energy. If you want to go forward, then you reconnect with the energy now. You connect with future energy, right? Take those deep breaths, right? We got this. Remind yourself of these new stories that you created. Remind yourself of who you are now. Remind yourself that love, real love, true love never goes away. It's always there. Our heart chakra. Taurus again rules the throat. Work on how you were presenting, how you're speaking, especially about the past. Okay, I'm gonna leave it there. If you guys have any questions, please reach out. A lot of everything's shifting, you know, everything's shifting. So just take it one day at a time. Taurus season, we're in no rush, right? Fixed Earth. Even though Jupiter and Uranus have made this new hole, to bring all this good new energy in, right? This fertile new ground, there's no rush. So take it one day at a time. All right, till next time, guys.